What the f*** was that? Last night's episode of Raw saw the return that no one has been asking for, the Sweat Man, the apex perspirator, the big sog, the most sweatifying man in all of sports entertainment, the greatest wrestler in the world, the Omni-Shane. Just when I thought I was out. Shane O'Mac made his shock, slightly pre-announced return on last night's Raw, his first time on WWE TV since SmackDown's debut episode on Fox on October 4th, where he lost a career versus career match to Kevin Owens. And he broke the first rule of Fight Club by telling everyone about his new Fight Club. In WWE's latest gimmick that will be dropped completely in 3 weeks' time, like Corey Graves' electric chair, the wild card rule, cross-brand invitationals, Raw's darker third hour, and Humberto Carrillo, Raw Underground will see simulated MMA-style shoot fights in a ring with no ropes, Shane yelling commentary on a PA system, and strippers. And we already have an answer to the question I've been asking myself repeatedly since. Why? Shane's return was actually announced a few hours before Raw went on air, to which Dave Meltzer responded by saying, "This was the response to the fear of a record low number tonight." While NXT and AEW ratings have steadily been climbing back up to pre-pandemic levels, Raw has been setting record low viewership figures in lockdown, and with no Paul Heyman to blame anymore, it's all your fault, Paul Heyman! WWE has to try something drastic, like how Vince McMahon laid out on last Thursday's Investors Call. I think we can have more compelling characters, better storylines, new characters coming to where we are now, and more content that isn't necessarily in the ring, but one that focuses on our individuals and their stories outside the ring. Outside the ring there, meaning my son in the basement. That wasn't the only last-minute ratings grab announced by Raw just hours before the show either. There was also a new faction teased to debut because, as ever, plans were being rewritten all day. Gary Cassidy of Sportskeeda posted a series of tweets last night describing the backstage atmosphere in WWE as totally unprepared and chaos from the top, not the Okada chaos. They recorded 2 episodes of Raw yesterday, with the first show changing on the fly, while the second episode is still apparently incomplete. Cassidy would go on to say, the shows will happen and air, but there's no attainable goal of quality because everything is decided under the pressure cooker of it all coming down to the very last minute, which is even wilder than usual. Vince's mood is described as volatile as a result of the indecisiveness and chaos of today. Which isn't that surprising, as while all this was going down, The Rock bought his XFL. Go home now, 2020, you're drunk. Rock the Dwayne Johnson, his longtime business partner Danny Garcia, and Redbird Capital all announced that they purchased the XFL, including all its assets, for $15 million and split the price evenly. The company had filed for bankruptcy earlier this year following Vince McMahon shutting it down due to the pandemic. The XFL was due to be auctioned off yesterday, which is when the Dwayne bought it. But the move isn't without controversy. The XFL still owes a lot of money to other debtors, and their committee has filed a motion to stop the sale because they want a higher price. The bankruptcy court will decide what happens next on Friday, and if it goes through, the Dwayne will have his own football promotion by the 21st. Now watch and marvel as I try to review last night's insane episode of Raw in under 5 minutes. Thanks for your support on Patreon, the $100 Man CD Horva, and the Kessel Run DX Solo. The show opened on technical problems, with the lights occasionally flickering on and off, which Tom Phillips dismissed as probably just the weather. Have you ever seen any wrestling show ever, Tom? A debut is being teased. CM Punk return confirmed. This continued through the first match of self-declared US champion MVP taking on actual US champion Apollo Crews. Because that's how you'll get more people to watch. Give everyone titles.
More Championships Monday!
Crews retained in a really decent match, so MVP demanded a rematch at SummerSlam even though he was just beaten clean. Kevin Owens staged the This Is Your Life KO special, reuniting Ruby Riott with Liv Morgan next. They worked together to beat up the Iconics and promised the Riott Squad would now be stronger than ever. Guys, Sarah Logan is probably watching this episode from home. Drew McIntyre cut an awesome promo on Randy Orton next, saying yeah, Drew was fired once, but from what he's heard backstage, Randy should have been fired a whole bunch of times, a shoot reference to Orton's wellness policy violations. Oh yeah, and Ric Flair's back now, offering his managerial services to Kevin Owens, who went for a match against Orton next week instead, which is a shame, as RKO KO should be a new faction based on those letters alone. Nia Jax went to apologise to the official she beat up last week, but instead challenged him to a match because he's ginger. The dude suspended her without pay. Who is this guy, and how does he have the power to do that? So Nia headbutted him. In the second kind of title loss for the Hurt Business of the night, Ninja's distracted Benjamin, letting Akira Tozawa pin R-Truth in the ring, which somehow isn't even remotely the weirdest sentence I can say about this show. After Shayna Baszler awesomely punched Sasha Banks in the face earlier, the two had my match of the night, going back and forth, working around submissions, really getting over Shayna's unique style of threat, so of course it had an awful nonsensical finish. Asuka attacked Bayley outside the ring, two people who aren't involved in the match, and the sort of angle that occurs on practically every episode of wrestling TV ever, which inexplicably caused the DQ for Banks versus Baszler in the ring. Caruso alert! Charlie made Asuka watch a full promo package about her losing her title and her best friend getting brutally beaten up before she was allowed to speak. Dick move, Caruso! For Asuka to demand a rematch against Banks at SummerSlam. Shayna wished her well, only so she can win the title afterwards, and Banks accepted, but only if Asuka can beat Bayley next week, which brilliantly caught Bayley by surprise, further sowing those dissension seeds, even though she's done the exact same thing with Banks in the past. Demi Burnett from The Bachelor is flirting with Angel Garza backstage. What's going on? And then we finally got Raw Underground. The first match was Dabo Kato, formerly named Babatunde, destroying some random dude in the Fight Club. No ring rope style, but still complete with nauseating Kevin Dunn camera shots and editing, and most ridiculously, dancing girls. Yeah, ratings. This doesn't come across as desperate at all. Dancing girls aside, I actually don't hate the idea. When lockdown first happened, I pushed for WWE and AEW to lean into the bunker Fight Club style idea. The current world situation is a hindrance for sure, but it's also an opportunity to present wrestling in a new way, like Lucha Underground, just without the sci-fi and supernatural. They're trying something new, and that is to be applauded. So let's see how it is in a month's time. I'm kidding, it won't last that long. Rather than Raw Underground being the full third hour of Raw though, it then just cut back to normal Raw with Tom Phillips going, well, that's a thing. Looks good. We'll check back in later. That's it. That's all you have to say on the illegal fight ring that's just sprung up next door, run by the son of the owner of the company. We'll keep you updated. The Street Profits then took on Angel Garza and Andrade in singles competition, where they should have told the story of Garza and Andrade being individually stronger, but the Profits being more than the sum of their parts. But instead, they told the story of Montez Ford being poisoned. Eric from the Viking Raiders murdered some guy over on Underground. Look at the sexy dancers. And Phillips is like, well, that's a feisty little scuffle they've got themselves in over there. Then the other random storyline chucked at the wall, the flickering lights, were revealed to be the work of a mysterious faction of hooded wrestlers. Sounds cool, right? Not when WWE do it. Security footage showed 5 vacants yelling stupidly and then throwing a Molotov cocktail at a generator. The sort of vandalism that WWE really should have noticed beforehand. It sounded like at least one was a woman, but I still think it'll be Undisputed Era and Dominik Dijakovic because they're too short otherwise, and they'll bring up the average height by about half a foot. Who do you think is in the faction? Let me know in the comments because I'll be replying to people from out of Shane's sexy Fight Club. After a really long recap of the Rollins vs Mysterio saga, Seth threatened Tom Phillips for being biased and cheering on Dominik last week. Samoa Joe really awesomely stood up to him in that badass way only Joe can do, for Dominik to attack Seth and Buddy, showing some really cool fire. But the main event was Undergrounds. After Dolph Ziggler beat up another dude, the Hurt Business announced they're in control now here. Look at the sexy dancers! Lashley, MVP, and Benjamin each beat someone up, one of them being Dio Madden, as if they put over everyone on normal Raw on their way out because they were being called up to the new Underground roster, making Underground look like it's run by losers from the offset. What did you think of that insane episode? Let me know in the comments because I actually don't know. It certainly held my attention. Look at the sexy dancers! I didn't hate the Fight Club idea. The women's division is still really good, and I'm intrigued about the new faction. So I don't know, this is like a new rating, I guess. This week's Raw is f***ing insane. How will the WWE draft play into this? Click the video on the right to find out. And what are the 10 biggest mistakes WWE made with The Undertaker? Click the video below that for Adam Blompier's latest list. Give us a subscribe for daily wrestling videos. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling, I think.